Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm of course your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'm going to be letting you know everything you need to about Update 9.0 for World of Tanks Blitz. There is a lot of information we're going to be talking about. New equipment for the Japanese Tier 10 Heavy, which honestly looks really interesting. We're also going to be talking about, in front of you, the 8-year event where you can earn a Tier 7 Polish Premium Medium Tank, the CS52 lease, and much more like PBR maps. So, stay tuned in today's video. There's a lot of information to dive into. As always, I try posting the most relevant and newest information on the channel so I can keep all of you up to date with everything you need to know. So make sure you click that subscribe button down below if you want to stay up to date with the newest information as well in the future. But apart from that, let's get straight into it. The CS52 lease, as I just went over, is a Tier 7 Premium Polish Medium Tank. And if I would closely resemble it to any vehicle already in the game, I would say a T-44, which is a Tier 8 Russian tech tree medium tank. The 44 boasts pretty decent gun depression at 7 degrees, it's got really high alpha at 280, and pretty decent damage per minute. And that's very similar to what the CS52 lease has down at Tier 7. It's got pretty decent mobility, it's got a really high alpha, and when you're using the gun depression, its armor actually becomes quite effective. It's a Tier 8 medium on World of Tanks PC, so I'm surprised to see it down at Tier 7, but I'm very excited to play this vehicle. It looks really strong, definitely at the tier it's sitting at. I think it will be one of the better Tier 7 mediums in the game. Now, last year we obviously had the Panzer, which is a fantastic light tank, really just a fantastic vehicle. And if you're wondering, well, can I get my hands on that? Yes, you can. The Panzer is going to be obtainable as well. The P43 is going to be obtainable, and all the Y5 series tank, the ELC, the Firefly, and the T-34. Plus, you can get your hands on the Gargoyle. Now, here's the difference to what I'm aware on these two events. The CS52 lease is obtainable for absolutely free. All you got to do is play battles daily. I think it's 15 battles daily you can play, and then whatever damage you average in that, it will give you the tank if you have a high enough average damage. Thankfully, you can also gold through the stages, so a lot of people always complain the events are too hard to get your hands on, but what I always say, and what a lot of people always say, is that these events are great because even if you're not skilled enough to get your hands on the vehicle for free, you can still gold the tank for maybe 1,000 or 2,000 gold, which is really solid for a Tier 7 vehicle. So save your gold from this current Gold Rush event because it might help you in the future. To get your hands on this vehicle, we can clearly see that you need trophies, and you get 10 trophies each trophy stage. So stage 4 is your first, and it gives you 10, and then your next stage event is 8, and it gives you another 10. So you can get your hands on the vehicle for 20 trophies, so you'll have to get to stage 8. I would definitely suggest to get the camouflage last, especially from looking at Wargaming's live stream, the camouflage doesn't look anything too amazing at all. If we take away this, and we make a move over towards the overall event that you can get the other vehicles on, what my guess would be is that you're going to get your hands on these little Blitz coins if you buy items in the shop. We've seen this previously with other events, and that would be my guess to how this works, kind of like how Black Friday event worked, is that you can earn the CS52 lease for free, and then if you want to get your hands on these vehicles, you'll buy an in-game bundle, let's say a $100 bundle, and you'll get 1,000 coins, and then you can get a Panzer or a Y5 ELC and all these other tanks. Now, what Alexandra said in this stream is that this crate here is going to contain at lowest a Tier 8 premium and up to a Tier 10. That's pretty solid. I was thinking at first that this crate might just be a percentage-based drop chance that you'll only get a premium if you're really lucky, but if we look, the Panzer is 300 Blitz coins. This crate is 850, which means I would take a guess that it is guaranteed you're going to be getting a tank out of this crate, but I can't guarantee what is going to be in that crate as they wanted to keep it a surprise. So we're going to have to wait until my data miners get information on that. I'll keep you guys posted, but I'm very excited to see what is in that crate. I'm not excited to see how much money it's going to cost. The next thing we're going to talk about is the thing that I am very nervous and excited about. It is the new improved vertical stabilization and as well improved suspension equipment. Before we get into the equipment and what it does, I want to point out that this is only available on Japanese heavy tanks Tier 7 to Tier 10. So this is not going to be part of any other line in the game. Make sure you know that before you start talking about this with your friends or anybody else. You can see that this equipment replaces your optics and camouflage net equipment. So I don't think that's too much of really a downside because sure, optics is nice, but this tank actually has 268 meters of view range even without running optics, and the average heavy has 282, so you'll still spot a lot of heavy tanks in front of you, and judging that this is quite a fast heavy that goes 40 kilometers per hour, at least at tier 10 being the Type 71, I think that you'll be fine even without the optics, and nobody's ever going to run camouflage net on a heavy, so yeah, not too much of a downside, judging that these two equipment add so many buffs. Now, you gotta be careful, because you can only pick one of these, and both of these are amazing. Improved vertical stabilizer gives you 3 degrees of gun depression and 3 degrees of gun elevation. Now, the gun elevation, sure, it's a little buff, nobody cares about that, but going from 6 degrees to 9 degrees of gun depression, that's huge. That makes you work average ridgelines to almost every ridgeline in the game. And that's going to make the Type 71 from a decently flexible tank to an incredibly flexible vehicle on any ridgeline. But there's a catch, because improved suspension, in my opinion, is even better. First of all, it makes your average speed 3 better, because look at how much it makes your terrain crossing capacity better. 50 on road, 45 on ground, and 34 on water. That means even on water, you have over 100% terrain crossing capacity, meaning that you're still going to be able to reach 40 kilometers per hour even in the water. This tank is going to have similar mobility to a Progetto 65, a tier 10 medium. This thing's a heavy, and look at the traverse speed buff you get. 14.58 degrees a second. Holy crap. Yeah, improved suspension is going to massively change the amount of traverse speed you get. It's going to be a big buff. In front of you is a visual representation of what improved vertical stabilizers do to your tank on gun elevation. Unfortunately, on the Wargaming stream, they didn't show what it looks like when using gun depression, but just imagine that difference there, but for your gun depression as well. And to be honest, that is a pretty big difference when you're working ridge lines. I'm not sure if the elevation's going to really help at all, but definitely the gun depression. Now, I know that gun depression is really important. Like, it's one of the most important values in the game. But the amount of traverse speed you gain is insane. Look how much faster the one tank is turning compared to the other. Boom! Just finished an entire 360, still turning, still turning, still turning, and finished. That's not even close. Improved suspension is so much faster than if you're running improved vertical stabilizer. And because of that, I'm honestly lingering more on the side of gaining mobility over gun depression. I mean, yes, gun depression is absolutely amazing. It can make or break a vehicle. Being able to work certain ridgelines and not being able to can be massive, but also being able to turn an extra 15 degrees a second and have so much better terrain crossing capacity, man, I just don't think the gun depression is going to be as necessitant compared to the mobility that you can get. Now we arrive at the final part of today's video, the part I have been most eager and excited for: PBR maps. In front of you is Castilla in full HD form, and it honestly looks really nice. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say the colors aren't too bright and they don't like that. I agree. I think that the grass should be a lot greener. But even with the grass being this kind of stale pastel color, it doesn't matter to me. The map looks so much nicer. I mean, look at how HD the buildings look. It's insane. This looks incredible. Even the car there looks so nice. I mean, I never thought that the PBR maps were going to look this good, but they honestly do. So I can't wait to see more maps in the game all being given PBR. But there is one big downside to it, and that is, depending on what device you're using, you're probably not actually going to be able to run your maps with PBR on. Darth, which was the one showcasing the map here, was using his iPad Pro to showcase it. And by the way, I just want to point out, look how nice the water looks. Oh, it's so nice. But back to what I was saying. Darth is using an iPad Pro for the Wargaming live stream, and it was running at around 55 FPS. Now, I do want to point out that the iPad was live streaming at the same time, which was obviously using some sort of processing power, but that still agrees to the point that if you're running a bit of an older phone or tablet of some sort that doesn't have the newest up-to-date processor, you're probably going to struggle to run PBR maps, and at that point, running the game at 30 or 20 FPS isn't going to be any enjoyable. So the good news is that you can run it, and if you're on a PC or a newer flagship phone, you can probably run PBR very fine at 60 FPS, but it'll definitely be a hassle for the older iPhones and other devices. Hopefully, you enjoyed today's video. I'm excited for a lot of these changes. I'm scared for the Type 71 because right now it seems really strong, but honestly, the update looks great. There's a lot of changes. We obviously got the free event. This is what I like to see coming out of Wargaming. A lot of new events that everybody can get free tanks in. This is just good news all around for me. So hopefully you are all excited for what's going to be coming into the game in Update 9.0. Expect it to drop about a month, I would say, from now. But other than that, stay happy, stay healthy, and make sure to click that subscribe button down below. Bye-bye.